Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Zodiac Bandit, and today I will be continuing my ranking each player characters from whoever. And today is Liam. I will be ranking Vax, Caleb, and Aram. I don't think there's too many other notable characters to really talk about for Liam. So yeah, let's get right into it. So in last place or third place, I have Aram. And Aram is Liam's newest character from Campaign 3, and for a lot of people seems to be boring in the general consensus. I happen to really like Aram and his connections to, previous campaigns and to even one-shot characters now that it's been confirmed that he has a relationship with Derek in some way, most likely. That's his father-in-law. But I do see where people are coming from. And this character was designed to be a yes man. Liam, said that in the past he had a character who was heavily involved in decision makings, and he wanted a character to be sort of on the back burner for once and to be someone who's, yeah, we'll do that. You guys plan, I just act. And that's the character that he's created here with Aram. That being said, his, relationship with past campaigns is very fun to learn about. His motivation with his dead husband being killed off in an assassination attempt on Keyleth is also fun, and seeing that his story isn't necessarily just about doing what he was told by the Ashari leader, but instead mildly about getting revenge or, getting justice for his husband William. That is fantastic to me. I really enjoy the character motivation. That being said, with him being a character designed to fall back into the yes, sure type archetype that he's got going for himself, the not decision-making person, the person who doesn't want to talk, it does lead him to be at the back of the pack a lot for conversations, and, it does lead to him being mildly, boring at some times because he's not active in a lot of the conversations. But when he does have conversations, like with his amazing conversation with Chetney about his past, we get glimpses into what that character could be if he did be more vocal. So there's a lot of potential for this character, but something dawned on me very recently that I think might hurt Aram a little bit. If he had the same character motivation, but with a different background. So his husband still gets killed off in the assassination attempt, and he is still going after these people who turn into gel once they explode and die. But he's no longer an Ashari. Is he as interesting? I don't know. I would say probably not, because a lot of his intrigue comes from the fact that he's an Ashari and that he's got a relationship with previous characters from other campaigns. So if he had the same backstory of wanting to get justice for his husband, is he as compelling? In my opinion, no. But luckily he does have this backstory. But it does mean he doesn't really stand on his own without that backstory, which is something that kind of hurts a character, because other characters like Chetney are able to stand on his own even though he does have a relation to a previous location that we saw in different campaigns, if that makes any sense. I hope I made that clear. I do think he is still an amazing character, but if he didn't have his background, would he be as interesting? Who knows? And in second place is Vax'ildan. Now, Vax'ildan has bonus points from the rip for being my favorite class, a rogue. Not my favorite subclass of rogue, but my favorite class, so bonus points for being really fun to watch in combat for me. Aside from that, he's an awesome character as well. A little edgy, and I'm going to get to the edginess later. But I like all of his relationships with all the characters that he does interact with. Gilmore, Keyleth, Pike, all of them, all of his great interactions that he has with so many different characters. The Raven Queen, Percy. He has a bunch of fun relationships as Campaign 1 goes on. And his amazing, friendship with Grog, where they fuck with each other for a lot of the time, and it's heated and very, alpha versus alpha, or, wanting to be the big strong guy or the hot-headed guy of the group, and the two of them clash a lot, but they are, at the end of the day, friends, so it's really fun to watch that. But his character growth for me, from beginning to end, is very minimal, I guess. At first, I don't quite see what his growth was, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. it seems to me that he was fearful of the future, and that toward the end he was accepting whatever future he would end up with. That to me seems to be what his character growth was, but for me it's a little too hidden behind a lot of the other things that he did, which mainly being a lot of the edgy choices he makes throughout the campaign. And to me, edginess does not equal good. It equals fun in certain circumstances, but he had plenty of moments where his edginess caused a lot of cringe to me. But he's still incredibly fun. He has an amazing relationship with every character of the group. He's probably the only person in campaign 1 who I think bounced between every single other character and had a good, solid friendship with. And his relationship with Keyleth of the, he proclaims his love for her and she's not sure what she wants to do with herself right now, was a fun little thing to watch, because that's real. That's real for a lot of people to watch, to have experienced in their life. They want to tell somebody that they love them, and then they get told that that person doesn't quite know what they want right now. And that, to me, hits home for a lot of people. I'm not pointing out anybody in specific here. But that was a good character thing for me to watch, because to me, I didn't see the character growth until the end when he was accepting his fate. And while he was very fun to watch, a lot of good moments came from Vax. There was a little bit of edgy cringe in there that I can't quite look past, which puts him below number 1 to me. At number 1, that only leaves one person, and that is Caleb Widogast, a extremely fun character. The Dirt Wizard. He is great. His connection to the world of Wildmount is awesome. I love the character. First of all, character in creation is a huge thing, and he added, he being Liam, an amazing idea to Matt's world, which was the Volstrucker, which are assassin wizards. And that is an awesome concept that the player introduced that Matt perfectly filled into his world. And that off the bat is something that I love. I love the idea of a player and a DM coming together and adding something so important. And he was able to connect it to a villain or a detestable wizard that Matt already did create. And the whole character and his connection to the world and what it did for campaign 2 was awesome. Astrid, Aedwulf, great characters. His relationship with Essek was amazing. Him and Knot, and then eventually Veth Bernardo, just fantastic stories that was all perfectly made and perfectly done to me, in my opinion. I really enjoyed Caleb's story of going from a guy who was trying to just get away from everything he had done in his past. He had done horrible things, and he was, before the campaign, obviously he was a little bit stronger than when he was when he started the campaign, and his goal was to eventually fix Knot. At the time was his main goal for a while, and to sort of, get rid of the disgusting corruption in the Cerberus Assembly was his end goal at the end. And that was awesome. Watching him go from something that was very personal to something that was very, I'm going to try to help Wildmount, was great, because he was a selfish character. At every turn at the beginning, he looked at Knot and said, if any danger happens, we run, we leave. Toward the end, this guy is going into a different realm for these people. He is going to fight somebody who is in their friend's old body to fight and potentially save the world before anyone could even figure out the world was in danger. This character was so much fun to watch grow and change and become not a dirt wizard. He was awesome. I love his relationship with Not the most, Not or Veth, whatever you want to call her, and how their goals kind of conflicted at one point, because he wanted to, travel back in time and save his parents and make things right with them and make sure that what he had done was never a thing, and he didn't want to live with the consequences of his past mistakes. But Veth believed that that might clash with her becoming regular again. She was turned into a goblin by magic, and she thought at one point that time travel would be the way this would happen. And she didn't want him to go back and, time travel. He didn't want her. She didn't want Caleb to mess with time, even if that meant she was stuck as a goblin. And she was set to, in her mind, stay as a goblin just so that Caleb didn't fall into fucking up the timeline, which was a tremendous sacrifice. And he was ready to sacrifice whatever it took to go do the two things with time travel he wanted to. And at the end, he did neither. He came up with a spell on his own to be able to get Veth back into her body, and then decided he was going to live with the consequences of his past. And that, to me, is the biggest character growth you could ever have. To face the things you've done in your past and live with them and know that they're going to be with you for forever. That was awesome. I legitimately believed that Caleb would go back and try to fix it because his plan was sound, his plan was good, and he had Essek by his side. It would probably have worked out. But he chose to live with it, and that's awesome. That is an awesome thing for a viewer to watch, and I bet Matt was proud as a DM to watch his player face the consequences. I love Caleb, and he will forever be my number one Liam character. And that is my list. Just wanted to mention a few things. I'm going to be recording all of these after episode 25, so that all of the lists that came before episode 25 are still kind of equal with this one, because there's not going to be any more added context to any of the other campaign 3 characters that we have left. So yeah, there's that. And I forgot to mention earlier during the Vax spot that Vax and Aram's spot in my mind changes on a fairly regular basis if they're number 2 or number 3. Just the personal thing, I think that whenever Aram does something really cool, he kind of takes over a little bit, but then I think back to all the cool moments that Vax had, and I kind of had to put him ahead of Aram just a bit because Aram does have that underlying problem of potentially not being a character that can stand on his own without the backstory he currently has. You know, those are things that I just think about sometimes. So for me, those two tend to switch between spots, but I think Vax primarily holds number 2. And no one comes close to Caleb. Caleb is the best to me. So that's my list. If you agree, hit that like button. If you disagree and have your own list, comment that below so I can see how much everyone likes Vax. How much more everyone likes Vax than me. Alright, anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys Thursday for our episode 26 review of Campaign 3.